Welcome to the Module 3 video. This video's focus is going to be on analyzing the work of students. A couple things I want to mention at the start that I forgot to mention in the other videos. If you ever have a student that needs their password changed. Now, if they signed up with their FM login, that shouldn't be an issue. But every now and then you might have had a kid that decided not to use their FM login and used a different login, so they've created their own password. So if you ever have to change someone's password, you just go to the My Classes tab. You'll see all your classes on the side. So I'm going to go to the test class, the one I created for this. And if you go over to students, it's got a list of all the students that are enrolled in your class. If you click on the three dots over on the right, you can click reset password and change their password. I've also had in the past students that maybe signed up with their school email first, but then the app on their phone is through a personal email, so then they have two accounts. Well, it gets annoying if you have two accounts and one's an account that never actually is being used, so you can always remove those extra accounts from the class as well. One other thing I forgot to mention, when we were putting questions in, there was one other, into our videos, there was one other tab, Notes, um, that doesn't actually ask a question. It just brings something to the attention of the student as they were watching it. Where I have used that before is if when I recorded the video, maybe I forgot to make a little point that I wanted to make, and I didn't want to record over what I said, so I would have used a voiceover. Sometimes I'll put a little note in and say maybe don't forget to distribute the negative here, or something like that. That would is just a reminder that I forgot to mention when I recorded the video. So that's just another option you have when putting in the questions. Okay, so when you log in to your Edpuzzle teacher account, you'll land on the page like this. To look at your students' work, you want to go to My Classes and scroll down to the class you want to work with. So I'm going to work with the test class. Now, if you had put a due date on your assignments, they would be listed under due assignments here, if that due date has passed. If you remember in the other video, I chose not to put any due dates on mine, and so I have the videos here. One is the introduction where we added the questions. The other is just the introduction, just going all the way through. So if we look here in this first one, I purposely didn't watch the whole thing so that you would be able to see what happens when a student doesn't watch the whole thing. So it shows me here only watching 60%. So then if you click on that student, it will show you which portions of the video they watched and how many times they watched those portions. So you can see this section in the middle here, I went back and I watched it twice. Maybe there was something I wanted to review here, but I skipped all these sections. Remember, we turned off prevent skipping, so if students did want to go back, they could jump around. And that's why it's not a huge deal for turning that off, because you can see right here where they did skip. Now, Edpuzzle is pretty accurate with recording the sections that they have watched. Every year I have a couple of students who will claim that they watched the video, but Edpuzzle will say either they didn't watch it or they only watched like 10% of the video or something like that. When that happens, if they've been watching it on their phone, what I have them do is during the class period, hit play on the video and let it run through, and then we look and see if Edpuzzle is tracking them. If they're watching on a home computer, I'll do a quick Google Meet video chat with them, and while I'm on the screen, I have them hit play on the video, and then I have up on my screen seeing if Edpuzzle is marking that they've watched it or not. Without fail, every time it does, when I am there doing it with them, it does mark them that they are watching. And from that point on in the year, the student is always watching the video always all the way through. So be very skeptical if a student is saying, oh, I am watching it, it's just not recording it. They're probably not telling the truth to you. And sit down with them so you're present, show them that when they hit play and watch it, that you can see it on your end, and that usually takes care of any issues. Now, if I had multiple students here, all I would have to do is hit next student, and I would be able to look at them one right after the other without having to go out. So let's look at the second one where I had questions. Notice this one, I completed the whole thing, so it shows 100%. If we go in here, it now, notice it has ones for all of them, because I only watched once. The multiple choice question, it graded automatically. When I went through the video and selected the Tuesday, remember I had given feedback to say that it wasn't Tuesday. Now, here's the free response one. So here's the question. What month is it? Remember, I'm recording this in July. You guys will be doing this in August, so I answered it as July. And here's the feedback that was there. So when I answered this question, after I submitted my answer, this feedback automatically came up. So I can mark this correct. Now, if I want to give any additional feedback on these, in addition to the feedback that automatically popped up, I can just type in here. And the student will be able to see that on their end. Sometimes a student will type something in wrong and they'll already have put in a comment here saying, oh, that last thing was supposed to be a 2, I typed in a 3 by accident. So you may see that every now and then you might have a comment. So this is the features of Edpuzzle that I think is so great. Being able to see how often they watched it. I'll often see the sections before a question. Again, they might have like 2 or 3 rewatches because students might want to review that material to make sure they get the question correct. So if I go to Gradebook now, up here in this drop-down menu, we've got your different classes. So this was test class, the one I created for this. You need to have your date range so that it has when the video is actually assigned. So if I did this from like May to June, I would not have any assignments here, but I do have them here because it was in this window. And it tells me what I got on each of these. Now, that first introduction video, remember, it didn't have any questions. That's why there's not any grade there. And then the second introduction video, I got a 50 on for those grades. Now, personally, I use my videos as like a homework grade. Either you did it or you did not do it. So even though I give feedback on the questions, I'm not putting the rate at which they're getting those questions in as a grade. I'm putting in on School Tool either they get full credit, they did it, or they get no credit, they did not do it. So I personally don't do too much with these grades as far as exporting them and things. In video 4, we'll talk about some more of the advanced features you could maybe do. But because I basically just use these as homework grades, I find that it's easier to just go ahead and put it right into School Tool manually. Because with homework grades, usually just about everyone has done it, and maybe there's only 1 or 2 students that has not completed it. So it's easy to just manually put in that they got zeros on that assignment. Okay, so now for the task that I would like you to do for this module. So back in your content section, I would like you to add a video that you did not create. So you can either look up on YouTube and post the URL here to get that, or remember you have these things here, like you can go to YouTube, and if you know the name of or the title of the video, you could type it right in there and get it from there. And what I would like you to do is I'd like you to find someone else's video. I want you to practice doing a trim. And then I'd like you to add at least one question. If there's a certain type of question you haven't used yet, either free response or multiple choice, I would like you to do that. Put that in as well. Once you have assigned it to your course, go to the courses that you belong to and just watch a few minutes of the other people's videos, answer the questions that they've put in. Remember, when we're assigning it, turn off prevent skipping so people can just skip right to the questions, jump around if they want. And also, the first video that you posted, make sure to go in and practice grading those responses so you can get that experience as well.